All right, welcome back, everybody, for a clarification slash update on the sale of Kiss's catalog and intellectual properties. I knew there had to be more to this, and I did some digging and some real analyzing of what was said here. Um, they did not, this is not um, a lot of the headlines are stressing the fact that they sold the music. And if you remember yesterday, with me and Darren, when we did our breaking news video, that I said they can't do that because Universal owns the music. Well, then in the Blabbermouth article, it said something to the effect that they are in they're working with Kiss in conjuncture with Universal. Well, it turns out the key line in the whole thing is they bought the artist's share. So what that means is anything Kiss owns musically from their catalog. And I did some searching around, and I did find Michael Brandvold from Three Sides of the Coin. Uh, excuse me, I don't care for the other two, but I've always liked Michael, mostly because he's an asshole like me, but he's extremely knowledgeable because he's in the music business, right? He manages bands, he's done publicity and is familiar with contracts and everything. And I watched his not Three Sides, but he's also got this business podcast, and you can check it out at Michael Brandvold's YouTube page or website or whatever. I strongly recommend it. He's on there kind of breaking this down too. And the artist, he, from what he said, he remembers that the, so you got Sonic Boom, Monster, and then everything after that Kiss would actually have owned to be able to sell. Like he said, the off the soundboard stuff was theirs that they licensed out to different companies, but they were not Universal owned. So the only thing Kiss could sell musically for, masters for, would be Sonic Boom and Monster and little novelty stuff, after that. Universal still owns all but two albums of Kiss's classic catalog. So that's not Kiss's to sell. In working in conjunction with Universal, I'm sure there's a lot of legal stuff that goes into it, but basically what that's telling me is that they have the agreement that in buying Kiss's intellectual property and catalog and publishing, they basically kept, I'm assuming, this is just my conjecture here, they kept the agreement or the contract, bought the contract, however you want to phrase it, that Kiss was getting from Universal for royalties and stuff like that, possibly. So what this boils down to is the reason they say, well, Bob Dylan had 300 to 400 million and Bruce Springsteen had 500 million, and Kiss is, and first of all, that 300 million for Kiss, that is not on Pop House's press release. Nowhere has that been verified or released. That is strictly a guesstimate by Forbes, from what I can see. So take it with a grain of salt. But the reason you can't compare, because I could argue, maybe not Bruce Springsteen, but Bob Dylan, certainly Kiss's catalog's worth more, right? But, especially going forward, Dylan being a folksy type singer and stuff, just not going to be very relevant with future generations. But you can't compare the dollar amounts, because essentially what this cracks down to is the 300 million is for Kiss's image. So you can't say, well, Bruce Springsteen got 500 million, but that was for music. Pop House could not buy Kiss's catalog. So if they could have all the masters to all the Kiss stuff plus the imagery, it would have been significantly north of this guesstimated 300 million. So this 300 million essentially is for most of the publishing rights, which really doesn't get you far without the music ownership. You get royalties and stuff like that if your songs are played and stuff like that. But that's chump change in the grand scheme of things. They bought this for the marketing brand. Uh, put a Kiss logo on something, put their faces on something, a hat, a T-shirt, a Zippo lighter. I mean, whatever. They own all that now. Anything, and they almost had to, right? If they wanted to go through and do this Avatar thing, they had to own the likenesses and the logos to make it Kiss. Otherwise, they'd have to make some, oh, this kind of looks like Kiss. It's based on Kiss type thing. So Paul and Gene wiped their hands of all of their marketing contracts, which they have over 1,000 different marketing contracts, and sold the makeup, the icon, logo, everything. That is what the bulk of the purchase was for. So they can go forward, Pop House, doing whatever they want to do with these avatars or merchandising or posters or whatever. Slap the Kiss logo on, slap the faces on, all this. You go into Walmart, you'll see AC/DC shirts, Nirvana shirts, Kiss shirts, stuff like that. Somebody reaps the benefits for that, right? Well, now it's Pop House. Anything a logo is on, anything their faces are on, anything to do with Kiss's likeness or intellectual property from here on forward, that's what Pop House bought. Added bonus, they get some publishing. I don't know how much Brandville was speculating. He thought he heard back in '89 that they had sold some publishing. So who knows? I didn't go that far back because in the grand scheme of things, the publishing means nothing. The masters mean everything. So Pop House will not be able to, say, make an Avatar movie or whatever with the original classic Kiss catalog up through Revenge, maybe Psycho Circus, without Universal getting a cut, right? Because Universal did not sell that, and I was crying bullshit yesterday. There's no way, as Darren was reading that article, that wasn't Kiss's music to sell. Unfortunately, I don't like the way the record business works, but very few bands got to keep, especially bands in the 70s and 80s, got to keep their masters, right? That's owned by the record label. And so Universal wasn't giving that up. I mean, it would have to be an obscene amount of money. I mean, Kiss's music is timeless as it gets because they weren't a political band singing about wars and, whatever. I mean, it's good time, party, have fun, believe in yourself type music, right? That's always going to be relevant. And their sound transcends thanks in part to Paul and Gene, whether you want to call it chasing trends or not. The fact that they were in place or in it's a fucking word, entrenched in every genre of music from rock to metal to disco to pop. I mean, they have such versatility with that music catalog. Universal, you'd have to pry that away. So in working in conjunction with Universal, I'm sure they've got a agreement set up like Kiss had to, where profits go where they need to go, percentages, whatever. But this is solely an intellectual property sale versus the headlines stressing the music catalog, which, like I said yesterday, was not Kiss's to sell. So just wanted to give you a little bit of a clarification as I got it. Gene did have a new interview here. The headline being Gene Simmons says Kiss's decision to sell catalog, name, likeness, and more was a natural thing to do. He spoke to People magazine about the band's decision to sell its entire music catalog. Again, that is incorrect. Likeness and brand to Pop House, a Swedish entertainment group, calling it a natural thing to do, he explained. Life happens when you're busy making important plans. We're planning our respectful, proud walking off into the sunset because we've been touring. We've been touring for a half a century. If you take a look at Mother Nature, you either evolve or you become extinct. So again, they're still stressing here on Blabbermouth, and I, from what I see, it was taken from a People magazine, asking him the question about selling their entire music catalog, and that's absolutely false. They don't own it. They can't sell it. So this was primarily, I agree with Brandvold from what I'm seeing, primarily about the image, about their likeness, their logo, all their trademark deals, which, as I mentioned, is over 1,000 different trademark deals out there. It's about merchandise. It's about T-shirts. It's about you name it, anything they can put an image on, and that's a safe bet because Kiss is basically, and always has been, the whole, thanks to the makeup, the superhero type rock band. So you could do so many things with that, from cartoons to movies to avatars to video games. I mean, it's endless what can be done as long as they own that likeness. And that was the big goal here. And really, I've had mixed feelings. I got up after sleeping on it, and I was listening to doing my job, driving around, and listening to one of my playlists, which had a bunch of Kiss in it. And it was a little gut wrenching. It was like a kick in the stomach. It's completely irrational. I get it. But it was almost like, you ever been in a relationship where it was seemingly a strong, great two-way street relationship, or so you thought? Goes on a year, 2 years, even maybe even longer. And then one day that person just walks off and says, I'm done. Really no logical explanation for it. Just, this isn't for me anymore. Goes off. Their life doesn't skip a beat, right? They just having fun, hanging with their friends, dating other people, and you're sitting there completely devastated and fucking crushed for months. And the one question that keeps going through, playing through your head and playing through your head, did it only matter to me? I've been there. I've been in that situation. How could this person just move on like that with no problem whatsoever, never look back, never question their decision, never have that longing or missing me and stuff like that while I'm miserable? That's kind of what this felt like today. I was like, we've been sold a bill of goods from this band since day one, that this is a band for the fans. This is something they wanted to do that no one's ever seen before. They were so proud of it. They made damn sure they babied this and nurtured this brand name, and they started this as a instead of, we're not just a band, we're a brand, and so proud of this, and all of a sudden for them to just fucking wipe their hands of it like it meant nothing. And like I said, don't get me wrong, this is all irrational. It's a fucking business move. I get it. But as a fan, it'd be one thing if you were a fan of a band for like 10 years starting in your teens, right? When there's 100,000 other things you're doing. But when you're like me and most Kiss fans, and you start out 5, 6, 7 years old, whatever, it's your life. Whether you meant it to be or not, it became the soundtrack of your childhood all the way through your teen years, your relationships, your breakups, whatever. It's always been there. It's always been a part of your life. And a part of me almost resented them for this, even though it won't change anything, right? All my memories are still my memories. The Kiss music's still there. I still have the albums, the CDs, the MP3s, whatever. None of that changes. They weren't going to put out new music anyway. If anything, this finally cements the bullshit of, oh, they're just saying they're retiring. No, they're done. All right. This proves it. But the irrational part of my brain was taken over. I'm like, you motherfuckers, how could you abandon me like this? like I said, it's completely irrational, but I just couldn't help my mind and my heart just went there. I was not expecting it. Yeah, I felt betrayed, almost like they are laughing like, sucker, I can't believe you're hooked on this shit. I'm gonna go live in my mansion. And you're sitting here like the jilted person in the relationship going, I can't believe this didn't matter to you. You could just throw it all away. I don't know. It's crazy how the mind works. But so anyway, just a little clarification that I was correct in my suspicion yesterday that they did not sell the masters to their music because they did not own them. So Pop House got very little um, in the way of music. I mean, who the hell wants to hear, Monster, maybe Sonic Boom, but and it's not like Kiss is putting out new music that they can collect royalties and stuff on. So their primary acquisition here was the image, the trademarks, the faces, the logo, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So just a little clarification so far as I got it. I'll certainly keep everybody up to date as I learn more in case some of you out there don't care to follow, music news on the internet as far as going to the different dirt sheet sites. Um, so there you go. And I think we got 1988 for the albums. I think we're going to get it out this weekend. So also on my other channel, I am going to be doing a full album review from a band called Smoking Snakes that I love. And if any of you are into Wasp, Quiet Riot, Naughty Hodder, Slade, that grovelly voice with big choruses and, ripping, rhythm, chunky riffs and stuff, you should really check out Smoking Snakes. The album is Danger Zone. I do have a couple of songs that I have already reacted to over there, and I will do a full album review over there if you're looking for new music that will remind you of old music like I like to do. So until next time, thanks for watching.